All right, guys, this is a long requested video. I am protected by the power of my Olivia Rodrigo Stanley. I am going to finally do a video on the relationship between Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo and their falling out. And this video is called Taylor Swift versus Olivia Rodrigo, Power, Fear, and Strategic Undermining. Swifties, get ready to get your feelings hurt, okay? So I want to talk about the Olivia Rodrigo Taylor Swift situation because it sits at the center of a much larger conversation about power and legacy and what happens when a younger artist becomes too good too fast. My opinion is very simple. I believe Taylor Swift saw Olivia Rodrigo as a credible threat to her position and her legacy and responded by undermining her credibility as an artist. I believe that this fits Taylor Swift's fixation on legacy, longevity, and fear of being replaced as demonstrated by her own songs like Clara Bow, Nothing New, and her own words in Miss Americana, and most recently that Colbert interview that she did last week. I believe Olivia Rodrigo is actually the true heir apparent of Taylor Swift because she's the only one with the artistic chops to compare to Taylor Swift's legacy. And I believe that Taylor felt threatened by that and sought to undermine her by painting her as unoriginal while propping up her rivals. So, yep, I said what I said. Let's get started. So from the very beginning of Olivia's career in the public eye, she was a publicly documented Swiftie who openly cited Taylor Swift as one of her greatest inspirations. Olivia got her start on Disney Channel through High School Musical, the series, positioning herself as like a young, clean, industry-backed talent. Nobody expected Olivia to explode the way that she did. That was TikTok's doing entirely. But in April 2020, Olivia covered Cruel Summer for MTV's Alone Together series. And that's a picture from that. And Taylor Swift posted it writing, "The talent, I love this," was super supportive, super excited, and Olivia reacted with absolute elation because this was a huge deal for her because it was an acknowledgement of a professional hero and a huge personal milestone for her. The trajectory of Olivia's career completely changed, unbeknownst to Disney Channel and even her label's expectations, when Driver's License became a massive TikTok-driven cultural moment and basically really cemented TikTok as a central music tastemaker. The song was everywhere. Everybody was talking about it. It was all over TikTok. In fact, that is around when I joined TikTok because I was like, what are people talking about with the song, girl? Like, I kept hearing podcasts about it, so I had to tune in, girl. Anyway, this sparked discourse about bridges, songwriting, and launches Olivia Rodrigo into the stratosphere of stardom, and she's in the mainstream consciousness. Taylor Swift, as usual, tends to like to piggyback off of these younger girls' clout, and she commented on Olivia's Instagram saying, "I say that's my baby and I'm really proud." Once again, explicitly signaling approval and endorsement, and what seems to be a really sweet and innocent interaction, and I saw it that way at the time as well. Importantly, it's important to realize that Olivia Rodrigo at this phase could easily be dismissed as a one-hit wonder, so she is not a credible threat to Taylor Swift because nobody knows what she could actually do because she had not released Sour at this point. Because Olivia's staying power was not yet proven, their relationship was comfortably mentor-mentee, and Olivia remained useful to Taylor, and she did make use of her. Olivia and Taylor meet for the first time at the Brit Awards, which reinforces the public narrative of admiration and closeness. And in March 2021, Olivia revealed that Taylor sent her a handwritten note and a ring similar to the one that Taylor wore when she wrote Red. In April 2021, Taylor Swift enlists Olivia Rodrigo and Conan Gray to promote Fearless Taylor's Version, which is an example of her materially benefiting from their youth, their reach, and their cultural relevance. Taylor jokingly called them "my kids," and Conan referred to Taylor as mom and Olivia as his sister, basically reinforcing a public family dynamic. Olivia continued to reference Taylor Swift frequently in her interviews and talk about what a great inspiration she was, which I think was the mistake that she made. But in any case, at this point, Taylor Swift was still gaining from their association, and Sour had yet to be released, meaning neither the public nor Taylor Swift really knew the extent of Olivia Rodrigo's talent, which I think was what the problem was. Prior to Sour being released, Olivia Rodrigo gives Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff credits on One Step Forward, Three Steps Back because she wrote it over the chords of New Year's Day. This credit was voluntary, it was preemptive, and disclosed on the album's release date of May 20, 2021, which is important when we talk about the lyrics of The Grudge, okay? Well, just remember that date. This is not a controversy, this was straightforward interpolation, and the credit was given in good faith. But that wasn't the case for the others. But in any case, when Sour was released in May of 2021, it became an absolute smash. And it really became the album that defined summer 2021. I wasn't even interested in listening to Olivia at this point because I'm kind of like no new friends, early days with artists. Like, I don't really pick up on things. I'm kind of a late adopter. But honestly, that album was everywhere. Her presence was totally unavoidable and she was inescapable. But in July of 2021, things actually turned sour, pun intended. In July of 2021, Taylor Swift, Jack Antonoff, and St. Vincent's were quietly added as co-writers of Deja Vu and given 50% of the royalties, okay? And the justification of this was that Olivia, in an interview, said that she wanted to do a Yelly Bridge inspired by Cruel Summer, which she later acknowledged was a mistake to say publicly. And it was a big mistake because the retroactive credits resulted in Taylor Swift and the other collaborators, Jack Antonoff and St. Vincent, taking 50% of the royalties from Deja Vu, which is an extraordinary outcome. And Olivia never went to court legally because it basically was a situation where it would have turned into a messy court battle for a new artist against somebody with a much more established reputation and a much more powerful legal team. This controversy fundamentally changed how Olivia Rodrigo was viewed by some aspects of the fandom, mainly the Swifties, and they began to fuel a narrative that Olivia was derivative, uninspired, or improperly attributing her work. Taylor Swift never needed to comment publicly for that narrative to be fueled, because the Swifties do all her dirty work for her, as they are known to do. And I believe that this outcome was by design, not by coincidence. By taking credits on one of Olivia's most successful songs, Taylor Swift is implicitly delegitimizing Olivia's creativity as an original artist. Narrative shifts from Olivia being a brand new star and being influential to implications of plagiarism, which is particularly damaging for a young female artist. Toxic Swiftie seized on this narrative to undermine Olivia's credibility as a writer, and literally you could not get away from these type of comments in every comment section, even until this fucking day. And Taylor Swift never has to say a word because the fandom enforces the narrative on her behalf. The damage is further compounded in August 2021 when Paramore members Hayley Williams and Josh Farrer are added as writers on Good For You due to comparisons to Misery Business. This occurs after the Swift credits, not before, despite people frequently retrospectively reframing it and saying the Paramore thing happened first. The Taylor Swift thing happened first. Okay, we have the dates. Thank you. Basically, the cumulative impact of another known associate of Taylor Swift reinforces the idea that Olivia's success is built around others' originality, which again is very damaging for a new, young, extremely talented artist. Both Hayley Williams and St. Vincent have quietly distanced themselves from these actions. Hayley Williams has publicly said, "My publisher's wildin' right now," and St. Vincent later co-wrote Obsessed with Olivia, and also gave Olivia a Variety Award much later on in her career. I actually think they toured together as well. So they clearly, neither of them really wanted to be associated with this undercutting of a new young artist. I think it's important to note that Olivia Rodrigo was 18 at this time. She was incredibly young, incredibly green, and incredibly new to the industry. And she was forced to address these discrediting narratives in the press, including in Teen Vogue, where she expressed disappointment in people discrediting young women's work. Dan Nigro, Olivia's producer, later observed that once something is successful, people suddenly ask for things that they never asked for before. And I felt like that was a really astute observation and always has stuck with me because I believe that these credit discussions only happened because Olivia was a credible threat and had massive influence. And the truth of the matter is, Olivia can't do anything about it. She can never accuse Taylor Swift of bad faith publicly because Taylor Swift is more powerful, notoriously vindictive, and they have a heavily overlapping fan base. So she's forced into silence. And as a result, Olivia has had to use her Disney PR training to take the high road. And that limits blowback because she is, quite frankly, in the weaker position for now. Anyway, after undermining Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift began aligning herself with the new rising pop girls like Gracie Abrams, Gayle, and Sabrina Carpenter. This really mirrors to me Nicki Minaj's post-Cardi B behavior, where Nicki aligned herself with Megan Thee Stallion, until she didn't, obviously, Coi Leray, JT, Bia, Ice Spice, in order to try to blunt accusations of jealousy and accusations of this larger than life, large talent undermining a new girl, which is incredibly unbecoming for her. But anyway, I believe that her attempts to undercut Olivia Rodrigo, and again, these are my opinions allegedly for entertainment purposes only, okay, did not end there. Shortly after Olivia announced Guts, Taylor announced Sabrina Carpenter as an Eras Tour opener. And this felt like Taylor propping up one of Olivia's perceived rivals to me, which to me read as passive aggressive because Sabrina Carpenter was the essentially the target of Olivia Rodrigo's album Guts. You know, she was the love interest of Joshua Bassett, etc. And to me, this definitely read as passive aggressive. And yet another thing that she did to try to undercut this girl. And by the way, it's consistent with what things that she's known to do. She is known to release things on top of other people's release dates in order to undermine or undercut them. See Katy Perry Prism album release and Taylor Swift releasing all her music on Spotify on the same day that her album came out. Okay. But anyway, Guts comes out to great critical success. It got totally snubbed at the Grammys, which I'm still not over, but that's neither here nor there. When Vampire the single comes out, a lot of people start asking, like, is this about Taylor Swift? Because she says things like bloodsucker, dream crusher, bleeding me dry like a goddamn vampire. Or in the unedited version, she says bloodsucker, fame fucker, bleeding me dry like a goddamn vampire, right? So she's asked about this in Rolling Stone, and she plays very coy, and she says that I don't talk about what my lyrics are about anybody. She was also directly asked about her beef with Taylor Swift, and she said, got quiet and said she doesn't have beef with anyone. She was then asked if she would ever take a younger artist credits, and she said she doesn't see herself ever doing that in the future, which, you know, she said a lot of things without really saying them because once again, she can't fight this woman directly because she's got so much more power than her and is notoriously vindictive. In any case, while I do think that the conversation about whether or not Vampire is about Taylor Swift is up for debate, I really think that The Grudge is really where Olivia got her lick back and was really taking a page out of Taylor Swift's book in terms of writing about her enemies, okay? In The Grudge, she says things like, lines like, I have nightmares each week about that Friday in May, one phone call for you and my entire world was changed. Trust that you betrayed, confusion that still lingers, took everything I loved and crushed it between your fingers. I mean, she was a huge Swiftie. And she says, I hear your voice every time I think I'm not enough. I try to understand why you would do this all to me. You must be so insecure. You must be so unhappy. Clock the fuck out of her. Anyway, she says, hurt people, hurt people. We both drew blood, but those cuts were never equal. You built me up to watch me fall. You have everything and you still want more. Even after all of this, you're still everything to me. I know you don't care, and I guess that's fine, but I can't let it go. I've tried, I've tried, I've tried. And I'm so sorry, Olivia's never confirmed that this song is about Taylor Swift, but I was at the Guts tour and I saw the look in her eye after she sang this song. Baby, I'm just saying, this is about an enemy. This is about an enemy, and I think we all know who that enemy is. But she's really smart about it. Again, that Disney PR training never slips with her, right? She strategically refused to name names and allows listeners to read between the lines without provoking the Swifties. The Swifties can pretend like they don't know what the song's about, and Olivia retains plausible deniability. Strategic ambiguity, and it's incredibly smart. But I fundamentally believe that one of these days Olivia is going to get her lick back. She seems to me like a lioness in waiting for her moment. And I do think that her day will come. Anyway, in conclusion, I believe what happened to Olivia Rodrigo was intentional, strategic, and cruel. Olivia has generational power, emotional immediacy, and artistic chops that Taylor Swift recognized. I think she saw herself in her. And I think that recognition triggered fear and jealousy, and Taylor sought to do something familiar that we know her to have done frequently, which is to demean and damage a young up-and-coming artist who regarded her as a hero, which is terrible. But the thing is that she can't take away Olivia Rodrigo's legacy, okay? I wanted to bring my Stanley Cup to this thing because one time I was on vacation for my birthday and I just happened to have the Stanley Cup because I don't know, I just got the Cosmo notification and I just happened to buy it and I happened to get it in the lottery or whatever. But the way that these like young little kids were like freaking out and talking about how much they love Olivia Rodrigo, how obsessed they were with her. Olivia Rodrigo is the voice of a generation, guys, honestly. I mean, the way that her music touches the young teenager inside of me at my big age of like mid-30s, okay? Like, this girl is gifted. This girl is gifted, and I really believe that Taylor Swift saw that gift in her and sought to undercut her. At the end of the day, she's never going to stop her shine, okay? Olivia is the future of music. Her talent is undeniable, and she will be just fine. And I cannot wait to see what is next for her. I can't wait for OR3, which I think will come out. My prediction for OR3 is that it's going to come out maybe late, like third or fourth quarter of 2026, if not first quarter of 27. But I can't wait for it because I think it's going to be a great album from a multi-talented artist who deserves the world and did not deserve what happened to her. And okay, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you didn't, I don't really care. Too bad. This is what I think. It's my opinion. All right. Thank you. Goodbye.